I help people focus on creating new beginnings because I know how important it is to each of us to provide clarity and stability for our families in the future. My name's John Zenner. I'm a family law attorney, and today I would like to talk to you about something that my niece brought up when she was looking at these videos. And she said, Uncle John, don't you realize that people live together without being married? And I said, you're right. Maybe we should talk about that. So, what I'm going to try to do today is give you four things to consider if, in fact, you're residing with your boyfriend or girlfriend. The first thing I wanted to talk to you about would be the idea of coming up with a plan about how you're going to share expenses when you live together. The two of you can enter into a contract, not a verbal contract, because keep in mind, a verbal contract is not worth the paper that it's written on. But a written contract that follows the rules of contract law is something that will be helpful to you for the future and will be enforceable. The second thing I want to talk to you about is when you buy property together, the kinds of things you need to be careful of. It will determine your rights and obligations in the future in terms of how you title the property. If you purchase the property as tenants in common, you have one potential set of obligations and rights. If you purchase it as tenants by the entirety, something different. It's essential that you understand what those things mean and how you want to title the property in order to be sure that, in fact, if the relationship ends, you're going to be able to get the property out of the relationship and move forward in the future. The third thing I wanted to point out to you is keep in mind that many jurisdictions have what are called domestic partnership statutes on the books, which allow you as a couple, even though you're unmarried, to register as a couple for certain purposes that are defined by law. And New York City, for example, has one that's in the city code, and it permits people to register and unregister if the relationship severs. And by having a domestic partnership, you're permitted to put your partner on your health insurance, a very, very important issue for many people. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about is the most important thing when you you're together as a couple, and that is babies. What happens when you're not married and you have a child? Well, in the hospital and after you leave the hospital, you will be asked to sign an acknowledgement of paternity. Without signing that acknowledgement of paternity, there is no rights for the father. So it's essential that that be signed, and it doesn't have to be signed in the hospital, but it has to be signed within a reasonable period of time thereafter. And the person who signs it, not the mother, the mother can't deny maternity. The father can deny paternity, and he has 60 days to bring a suit saying that in fact he signed the acknowledgement of paternity under fraud or duress. And it does happen sometimes. As a matter of fact, it's an extraordinarily complex and interesting area of the law. But those are the four things I wanted to bring to your attention that I think are important for folks who are living without being married. And if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to give me a call. I'll be happy to discuss your rights and obligations with you at any time.